Hey everybody. Um, this is not my usual format. This is not my usual room, obviously. This is where my laptop is. It's in the office slash guest room, which we're trying to remake so I could have more room to work. But this was so important. I didn't have time to set up my usual thing because I just had an issue and I wanted to talk about it while it's still fresh in my head. So I went to the gym this morning. I was totally feeling it. I was feeling awesome. You could tell my hair, I still haven't combed my hair yet. I'm a disaster right now. But I wasn't able to eat before I went to the gym. So anybody else have a guess how hungry I was when I left the gym? Yeah, I was starving. I was starving. Well, obviously not, because I've got stores of fat that won't ever let me get to the point of starving, but I was really, really, really hungry. So, my usual routine is I go to Dutch Brothers, which is right across the street from the gym, and they all know me, and my dog's here with me. They all know me. They all know, they all ask, oh, how was the workout today? Do you need water? On days when my face is really red. Um, and I left there and I got my coffee and I was feeling good. And I'm like, you know what? I really, really am hungry. I need to address this. Because that always happens when you miss fuelings. You just get too hungry. So I was going to go to Chipotle. I drove all the way to the Chipotle because, I love their salads. And I parked the car and I thought here for a second, what am I going to get? Because as I was driving out there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really want the quesadilla. I worked really hard today, that I'll get the quesadilla. It'll be amazing. And yeah, I totally want that. And so when I parked the car, I Googled it. That tortilla, dude, just the tortilla is 300 calories and like 48 carbs. It was insane. And that's just the tortilla. So that is almost 3 fuelings worth in carbs or in calories, and almost a day's worth of carbs just in the tortilla. And then if I put chicken and then cheese in it, and it'll be more cheese because it's a quesadilla, that will get the calorie count on that's just gonna go insane. I'm like, okay, so I'll get my salad, that'll be fine, but I'm gonna get the chips. And I'm like, I really deserve the chips. I worked really hard. I'm gonna get the chips. Okay. So I Google the chips, 540 calories for the chips. And I'm like, but I really, really, really want the chips. And I'm like, well, if I do that and the salad, now we're looking at 900 calories and a ton of carbs again, because that's all that chips are. So I stopped and I was thinking, I'm like, how am I going to do this? I really, really, really want something crunchy, and how am I going to do this? So then I was like, well, what if I go to Taco Bell instead? Because I know that you can get a Taco Supreme, just a normal crunchy Taco Supreme for like 190 calories. Yes, that'll up my carb count for the day, but at least, I won't be blowing my entire budget for the day in one meal. So I was like, okay, what if I'll just go do that. Why don't I go do that? And I sat there and I'm like, that is not going to cut it. It's going to feel good. And I know the crunchy stuff on the outside is supposed to be chips, but it's not chips. I want chips. And I'm sitting there like arguing with myself. I'm still parked in the parking lot. Like, people are walking by and I'm like talking to myself and I've got the phone out and I'm like Googling, and I'm like, no, I've got to work a way through this. I've got to work through this. I don't need chips. I'm like, okay. So I was like, what if I go home and have some celery? Is it the crunchy that I need? And I'm like, no, it's not just the crunchy. I was like, well, because we can eat a bar too, and that's pretty crunchy. No, that's not going to do it. And I finally, after like a 20-minute conversation with myself, I realized it's the salt. I wanted salt. That's why I wanted the chips. I wanted the salty, salty chips. I thought that would be delicious and amazing, and that's what I wanted. And okay, so I'm like, okay, if it's the salt that I want, I just made those the sour cream and cheddar, or no, the sour cream and chives smashed potatoes. I made those into muffins, like my biscuits that I've been doing. And so I had baked up a pan last night, so I have 4 in the fridge, and I top them with a sprinkle of salt, and a little bit of toast, sesame seeds at toast. And even in the bottom of the tray, I'll spray the whole thing with, the spray oil. And before I even put the batter in there, I'll sprinkle the bottom with salt too. So the top and the bottom is salty. It's not a lot of salt. But because it's on the outside and not mixed in with everything, just that little bit of salt immediately hits the tongue and you get that like salt fix. And as soon as I said, oh, wait, I've got those muffins at home with the salty tops and the salty bottoms, is that going to do it? And immediately I was like, oh yeah, that is totally going to do it. That's totally it. And then once I like thought through the whole process, now I'm like, oh my gosh, I want this muffin so bad. I got to get home so I could toast those muffins. And so that's what I did. I toasted the muffins. So, because I put them in the refrigerator, and not gonna lie, they get a little gummy on the outside when they're in the refrigerator. So I always toast them. Oh, there's my dog. And what are you doing? Okay, and he's gone. So I always toast them because that will crisp up the outside and it takes the chill off of the refrigerator. So now I've got something salty and I extra toasted them so the bottoms get super crispy and the tops, they don't get as crispy, but they get, with the toasted sesame seed on top, they get a little burnt and they get a little, it's delicious. So that killed the craving. I was seriously craving and I was heading down this road of like all of my calories and all of my carbs for the day in one meal, and I wanted to save that because my husband and I already talked about having pizza for dinner, and I wanted to eat my pizza for dinner, and I know how to make that on plan. And if I went off plan, then I have to sit back and watch my husband eat pizza and I don't get to eat pizza, and that would be awful. So I just, it's so funny, but I had to talk myself off the precipice of you do not need this. Just because you're craving it doesn't mean you need it. Figure out what the actual craving was. And it wasn't crunchy, and it wasn't, are you comfy? It wasn't crunchy, and it wasn't the fatty, it wasn't the cheese, it was the salt. And once I figured that out, I could address it. So wow. I know I've mentioned on here before that these diets that we're on, it's not like you make one decision to be on a diet. No, you make thousands of decisions every single day, day after day after day, week after week, month after month. It goes on ad nauseum. It never stops. You have to make these decisions to eat better and eat what's good for you. Now that we've all figured out what is good for us, we eat this Optavia food that, it's got nutrients in it. It's got, our vitamins in it. It's balanced. It's not a lot of carbs. We know that this is good for us now. We know that this is what we need to eat. Now we just need to fine tune our bodies and our emotions to tell us that is what we want to eat. And it's so important to recognize the times when you make the right decision, because it's so easy to be like, oh, I went off track and I ate all this food and now I feel awful because I totally splurged on something I didn't want to eat, and I had fries or I had a burger, or like me, I was going to straight up eat the heck out of Chipotle. And you got to remind yourself, okay, so you made the wrong decision this one time. How many hundreds of times have you made the decision to not eat that previously? Like every single day that you do not make the choice to eat fast food or to eat something fatty or bad for you, you are succeeding. And so today was like, it was hard to succeed today because I was hungry, but I still made it. And, you just have to recognize this. So I know this video is like crazy and it's grainy. I don't know how this is going to come out, but the message was so important that I needed to get this out to you guys. So if you only watch one video, watch this one, which if you've gotten to the point where you heard me saying that, then it's pretty too late because you've already watched it. So I need to like boost this one up. But oh my God, you guys, take some time today to think about how many times you made the right decision this week. How many hundreds of times this week did you make the right decision? And reward yourself for that. Reward yourself for the fact that you ate super good today or yesterday, or if it was only 2 days this week, heck yeah, you did it 2 days this week. Yeah, you did it. We are all getting better. And this is, like I said, my phrase for 2020. This is a long haul, but we're going to make it. So happy Friday, everybody. Man, I love all of you. I seriously do. Okay, and I'll see you later. Bye.